I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Beichman.
Present.
Biesinger.
Present.
Boss.
Present.
Ekis.
Present.
Fry.
Present.
Gross.
Present.
Schroller.
Present.
Rom.
Present.
Quorum.
Awesome. The first item is approval of minutes on pages 3 through 8 of June 27th. I do not have any amendments. Does anyone have any amendments?
Move
Go
to
ahead.
approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 8-0. The next item is public comments. Anyone wishing to speak may come to the podium for 5 minutes. Give your name, your address, and your ward. All right, we'll move along to business and discussion items. The financial policy, which just has some revisions to it, is on pages 9 through 13. Did anybody have any changes? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Move to approve the financial policy as amended.
As amended?
As written. As presented, excuse me.
Okay.
As presented.
All right.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 8-0. The next item is a resolution 2016-08 for the stop signs at 10th and Alston, which I believe are already up, so we hope that this passes. Is there a motion to accept the resolution?
I move that resolution 2016-08 for temporary stop signs at Alston be approved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. Thank you very much. The next item is on page 15. It's a resolution. We asked for this to be prepared regarding 1205 Carolina Street. The only thing I wanted to point out was when we initially passed this, it was 60 days. We did it from the last meeting, and this has been pushed forward for 60 days from tonight. So it would be on September 12th, as it's stated in the third paragraph. But that's the only thing changed from what we approved or asked to be written. I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve resolution number 2016-09 and approve for the mayor to sign.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. Dave Richardson, would you like to come up and give us an update on 905 Calhoun?
Hey, Austin and we went up on Wednesday, talked with Dan. Dan's here tonight if you want to talk to him about anything. We discussed a few things. He had some wood that was going to be moved, and we kind of gave him until Friday. When I went up on Friday, he had a guy up there helping him, brother-in-law, I believe that's what it was. They were making pretty good progress. He got a mower moved out when I was up there and stuff. All the metal was put into the one trailer. So he's got a trailer that's got to go to the landfill yet. He's got a trailer going to the scrap pile. Got a whole bunch of weeds and trees and stuff trimmed out. The wood, he just told me the wood's gotten out of there. It's all gone right now. So
you feel that those two loads are distributed?
I think he's getting real close to where there's not much for us to mess with, but I'm not saying there's not a little fine tuning. I think he told me that the white utility shed's going to be, somebody's going to come and take it too, so.
Has anyone driven by recently? You did? Okay, Bill, what do you think?
It's made progress, but it's still got some ways to go.
Besides the trailers he was referring to?
I think if the trailers are gone and he keeps working on it, it'll be okay.
Okay, and
Yeah, because a couple of the one pickup trailer, he's putting the scrap metal in, and he moved it around to the back now. So he has moved it, and it was stuck in the pile of stuff. And the trailer with the cabinets is one he said he was going to take down to the landfill. Yeah, and there's one hooked to that pickup with some stuff on it, or whatever that truck, that white one. Yeah.
So at this point, do you want to recheck it in like 30 days and make sure everything's followed through to complete this process, or?
I think that'd be good.
Yeah, I just keep up with Dan here.
Okay.
I'm all in favor of us saving the city taxpayer money doing it, but I would be remiss to not mention I do have misgivings since we did set a deadline that was not met, and we extended it, and it was not met, that we're now extending it again.
Well, it sounds like Dave is pretty confident that it's cleaned up. It's pretty close, right?
Yeah.
This is what I mean.
I mean, if you guys had some roof tin in your yard, which he has a few sheets there that got sold in that auction that didn't go anywhere, and it's good tin, you would have it in your yard. Now, since this was such a cluster mess, that tin is part of the junk that we want, kind of pitched out. So, I think there are a few things there that are normal things, Yeah, I would say if he just keeps fine-tuning it the next few weeks. If not, I guess I'll let you know and stuff. But I just don't think there's probably a big enough thing for us to mess with.
Well, I think also this is one of those complicated ones that he doesn't really own the property, so we're not really assessing him. We're assessing the property. And since he made a fairly concerted effort to improve
I would say since January, it's a big improvement.
And I agree. And like I said, I don't think we should mess with it, or we should spend the time, resources, money to do it if we can avoid it. But I don't want the next person to come in here and say, well, you gave the last guy another day and another chance and another day and another week.
I see where you're going.
Yeah, I just want to make that sure that we aren't setting any kind of precedent.
Are you going to follow up weekly, Dave?
Oh, sure.
I said 30 days, now you said weekly.
Well, follow up with it.
I usually stop when I see him out in the yard, so.
Okay, will you bring it back to us if those trailers are not gone, please? Yeah,
the car's gone. The car was the issue. There was
car and truck.
Has that been gone for a while?
Car and truck.
The car's there.
Okay.
Has a tarp on it, so.
Okay.
That's what it says you can do.
Oh, okay. Well, then we leave it at that, right? Okay. Anything else for Dave?
I'd like him to straighten it up, though. But I mean, sometimes if you organize things, they look just a little better.
Yeah. Is the car tagged? Is the car tagged?
No. But I think if you're restoring it, I don't think it has to be, and you can keep it covered up there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Keep plugging along.
Thanks, Dave.
Mayor?
Yes.
I would like to mention that July 14th, there will be a planning commission meeting at 7 o'clock, and it will be about the MHS Junior High Addition site plan, and also the Marysville Ready Mix building plant site plan.
Oh. Okay, good. Thank you. The next item is a consent agenda.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Rather than take it all at once, I would like to ask some questions about the Convention and Tourism TIAK conference.
All right.
So do we approve the rest of them and pull that, or just discuss this?
Why don't we go ahead and just discuss it now, since no motion's been made?
Okay, thank you. This is a request, Convention and Tourism Committee for event is Travel Industry Association of Kansas. It's an annual conference. Registration fee is $225 plus 3 nights of motel and mileage, bringing it up to $35.84. I would like to request that when we send a representative from here, that we get back a report. I mean, I'd like to see something that goes into the permanent record. When we spend money to send somebody to get some information, You know, if they go away or they're gone the next day or whatever it is, that information goes with them. If we could have a report when we pay taxpayer money to send somebody, or transient tax, to send somebody to a convention, I'd like to see a permanent record of what they learned, if they interfaced, if they networked, who, you know, what city and what position, and what they learned that could be applied here in Marysville. I would like all of us to learn something every time we send somebody. I think there should be a written report that can go in the file that we can refer to.
Well, what they can do is they can present it to Convention and Tourism, and it can be in the information packet so that you guys can see it. It'll go to the Convention and Tourism Committee, and then a copy of it can be sent to Austin and included in the information packet. Is that sufficient?
Yes, but instead of somebody just going and spending the weekend and coming back real tired, I'd like to think that they would bring something back that we all could learn something from. That I mean, they represent us. I'd like to see something that if they don't find that they find that can be used by Marysville, you know, in some fashion. And if they can't, from the information they bring back, maybe somebody else who reads it could say, "Hey, we could use that." I'd like access to it somehow. I'd like everybody to have access to it. Thank you, Madam.
Okay. As long as we're discussing, I talked to Austin about the information presented on pages 29 and 30. The general fund has decreased slightly. It's a combination of revenues going down and expenses going up. So I asked him to prepare a roll forward for year end, just to double check everything and explain, you know, give a little detail on it. So I just wanted to know that that was in the works. All right. Now I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 8-0. All right. The next item is the appropriations ordinance.
Move to approve appropriations ordinance number 3630.
I second it.
Any discussion?
I might mention that in this ordinance, there's 29,000 plus monies that have been spent for Hartley Ridge. And I talked to Cindy Hawley today about whether we're keeping, if she's keeping track, because we allotted 110,000 towards the project, above what previous councils had allotted, and she said she is keeping track of that.
Okay. Yeah, which is a good thing. Yes, since we know the amount, right, that we approved, so. Is there anything else? Roll call.
Beckman?
Yes.
Biesinger?
Yes.
Boss?
Yes.
Bekes?
Yes.
Fry?
Yes.
Gross?
Yes.
Schroller?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
It's 8-0.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Austin, you're up.
All right, I included in your packet a letter from Lynn and Jerry Mayer describing a request for their street, 12th Street, the end of 12th Street, in regards to possibly overlaying it or finishing it or whatever. And they propose basically, or he proposed basically, we put in a valley gutter to direct water, and he'll pay for half of the overlay, 2.5-inch overlay. And this is, I guess, for your discussion as far as what to do about it.
First off, this letter was from the mayors, and so we won't discuss the personnel mentioned in it. We will just discuss the actual property, all right? So the most important thing, well, one thing, Dave gave you a copy, this page 39, is that, I guess I should start. This is our Unified Land Development Program. Every one of us should have one of these. Do you have one, Brad? You're shaking your head. Okay. Yeah, everyone should have one of these. So it specifies, so we know as a city council what is supposed to be done, the order of things that has been approved by councils before. It was approved in 2001, And so I have asked Cindy to get copies out to everyone so that you can have that. So whenever there is information presented to us regarding a plat or anything of that nature, we know what our responsibilities are. In that light, Dave gave you pages of 30, gave you a copy of page 39, and as you can see, the minimum design standards for paved roads, the asphalt is 8.5 inches. That's the standard required by this code. And then he also, the proposal in the letter was saying just 2.5 inches. So that would not be in accordance with the code. And the other thing is, he gave you a picture of the plat. These pictures right here. It shows you the property. The property that's being looked at is on the far left. The mayor's own 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on the left-hand side of, or I should say, west side of 12th Street. And then on the east side of 12th Street, that number 2 and 9, that's owned by Sandy Schmitz. And
2 and what?
2 and 9. Lot 2 and 9.
Okay.
Okay. And lot 1 and 10 is owned by Wassenbergs. And 11 and 12 and 13, and the top 2/3 of 14 is owned by Arnst, just so you know who the property owners are. And so the street now goes up to right about where, right between 6 and 7, we think. That's about 220 feet. So that's the street that's in right now. All these other subdivisions that are shown on here, they either had assessments or the builder put the streets in and those costs were included in the price of the home. Well, that's the builder's discretion, I guess, but anyway. So none of these were paid for by the city that are on here. And I think Darlene and I mentioned that we went through it and we went as far south as Oto Street, and they had assessed all those to the homeowners on that property. As you mentioned, Kevin, that this is a platted street. 12th Street is a platted street. Mayors don't really want it to go all the way through. They just want their street paved. As you can tell, there's been a lot of confusion on this street. But if you look at, I also gave you some pages from the UDL code. There's 3 pages in here that I copied for you guys. And it talks about final plats. It talks about what Darlene has brought up several times about having financial assurances, letter of credit for infrastructure. According to this, we really are supposed to have water, sewer, and streets in before a building permit is issued. That's what basically all this tells you. Before a building permit is issued, those should all be done. Also, we should have a letter of credit for when the final plat, before the final plat is approved, we should have a letter of credit on record, and it said 150% of the cost of the infrastructure to be put in. All that to say, so before this house should have been built, before Mr. Mayor's house should have been built, the road should have been addressed, and it wasn't. So before the final plat, it should have been addressed, and before the building permit, it should have been addressed. And now we have it, and the house is there. The road has been piecemealed, never really put in, certainly not put into code. So now we're kind of at this place of what to do with it. Yeah, and gravel roads are an acceptable surface. right above that, for paved roads, 8.5 asphalt. A gravel road is an accepted road in the city limits.
That's originally what was put in, the gravel road, with 5 inches of gravel, so.
So that was put in for, according to code?
Yeah.
Good job, Dave. Okay.
Yeah, originally they just put the gravel road in, so, and then it started getting extras and extras, and so yeah, originally the 5 inches of rock would have been good enough for the street with his house. Just now that he just wants to improve it now, so.
Yeah. So, what do you guys want to do about this? It obviously wasn't done, well, I guess what Dave is trying to say, the gravel road was put in, so that's all that was
It
required.
was done right then.
Yeah, so we really haven't done anything wrong other than the piecemealing of the asphalt put on. But, so at this point in time, we can either decide to leave it as it is. We could pay to pull up whatever asphalt is laid there and get it back to all gravel. We could choose to asphalt it correctly at 8.5 and assess it to the homeowners. Or we could put the entire street in to Jayhawk Road and assess it. Or we don't have to assess it if you don't want to. I just think it wouldn't be fair considering all the other people on here have paid for their streets. So, what are your thoughts?
I have an issue with the drainage coming off of 13th Street down onto 12th Street. Regardless what we put in there, water's still going to stand there and we're still going to have the problem. Regardless whether we put in an asphalt street or a rock street. There's so much water that comes down between Sandy's and Dan's there on a good heavy rain. It's just going to take that street out continuously. I don't care if there's a flume in there or what it is, there's just that much water off of 12th Street coming through there.
So do you think leaving it gravel is the best thing to do?
Not really, but I mean, I don't want to put, because the gravel's going to end up in his yard. But I can't see spending a lot of money on asphalt because the way that, as deep as that hole is on the east side of the road, water will sit in there 6-8 inches. It's just going to keep popping that asphalt up during freeze and thaw time, and we're not going to have a street again. It's going to be just like it is now.
Well, certainly at 2.5 inches we were going to have.
Right.
8.5 inches, you still fear that.
I think it'll pop it right out.
It'll get soft in time.
A concrete valley gutter would probably be the best option for water flow.
There is no way that will drain across that street. As high as that curb is on his side, he's going to have to go down another, I'll bet 8 to 10 inches.
In that thing that he put in?
Yep.
Which is an issue we'd have to address then.
Because that is so low on the east side of that street compared to the west side.
Well, you don't think he had an engineer coming?
Nope.
But that's it, to put this in properly, we'd have to have it engineered.
Right.
So that is in the discussion right there.
Of course, that would be, if we assessed him, would be included in the assessed cost. So.
Well, if we do this, I think we're going to have to assess it back to, the city can't be doing it for just one person. We got a lot more streets issues than that around town.
We do have a lot, and we'd set a precedent anytime we do it.
Right.
Other than how we've done it in the past.
Yeah.
Most of these developments, they took care of it themselves before they put the houses there. The development did.
Well, some were paid on assessments, and some, as I understand it, like on 14th Street, the developer put the street in, and then it was built into the price of the lot.
Yeah, but it went with the price of the lot.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. The city didn't pay for it.
Put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you want to do with this?
Well, if the city pays for it, then we need to probably go back and do it right. Because eventually we may want to extend that road, whether we do it now or not. But it feels like we should, if we do something, it needs to be done right.
Well, doing right would be taking it back to gravel, because gravel is according to our code.
Well, I'm thinking if we go back to the original proposal of the concrete.
Put the concrete in.
Yeah, put the concrete in, because then that's a long-term solution.
But the concrete being assessed back as well.
Well, yeah, however we,
Assess it, yeah, you'd have to assess it back to the landowner. You can't be putting in for one house like that.
So, would you like Austin to carry back any information
As
back to him?
You're talking a concrete street, Brad, or just a concrete
Just-
flume?
well, and then we'd obviously have to fix everything else, I think. But if you're, to your point, if we go out and put the code in there, it's not gonna last. So
No.
then we're just throwing money down the, but I do have a quick question. If when we platted that, and then whoever bought those lots, they would have known that there's the potential, there's a street going through there, and there's a potential there would be an assessment at some point, correct? Okay.
And, Bill, I believe you went and spoke, who spoke? Street.
Kevin
Me
and I
and Bill.
did.
You went and spoke with Sandy and with Dan Wasberg, and they said they really
They don't want it.
don't care. But obviously, if you assess one side of the street, you have to assess the other side of the street.
Well, you wouldn't have to put concrete curbs on the east side of the street.
True.
But the problem being is, like Kevin said, it's down at that slough down there, and even if you put concrete in and make basically a little water crossing, you're still gonna have problems there.
On a heavy rain, you still have the problem.
Yeah, it's gonna go through, I think, they say it looks like a little river between Dan and Sandy's house that comes down there.
Yeah, they say it's 20, 30 feet wide sometimes.
Well, there is a drainage easement on this map between there, so that was planned.
Right.
Well, it worked.
That's because of, and that's because of the curb cut on 13th Street.
So it does come down that drainage easement. We weren't quite sure where it cuts across Schmitz's land and where it goes actually across the street, though.
Well, it comes out about where it says 150 on it, right straight left of the
There's a
two.
drainage easement down there.
Which basically
So it
makes
kind of comes all the way down through her yard, basically to the south part of it. And if you fill that in, then I think if you start filling stuff in, you're going to have problems with the people on the other side of the street eventually.
Well, I think that feeds into that creek, where there's a creek bed,
Yep.
but that is on his property, right?
Actually, no.
That's on Mr. Crow's property?
It's on Mr. Crow's property.
Well, it says a drainage easement, though, right there.
If it
between
is,
those
it's just...
as well.
Okay, it must barely be on his
So
then.
they must have a drainage easement in there.
But that's built up so high, the water will never make it to that easement.
No, box culvert all the way down to that little creek that you can't see would probably, I don't know if that would do it either.
But I didn't think he wanted a box culvert because something he has buried in there.
Yeah, he's
Some
got
line.
his heating and cooling lines in.
And that's what I'm afraid of when we start digging down
We might hit it anyway.
to get that water to flow on across his yard to the west.
So let me ask you, if we do anything, are you leaning towards a half a street or a whole street?
Well, it depends on whether we put it back to gravel or we continue to Jayhawk. I think.
Right.
If we do,
Okay. If you put it back to
actually
gravel,
put in
just
a
leave it as it
street.
is? If we put in a real street, it's gonna go all the way to Jayhawk?
I think even if you put gravel in, that you're gonna, down here in this drainage place, you're gonna have to put something in, because like Kevin said, that gravel's gonna be right on into his yard. That's gotta come through there some force.
Yeah, coming down, because it's 20-foot drop from her yard. I mean, it just keeps gaining momentum coming down the hill, and I think it'll just sit there and take that rock on the edge and just keep moving it.
Well, if we gravel it, are we gonna end up paying for dust treatment? Laugh if you want,
We
it
are.
will add up.
I know.
We might change that.
Yes. Okay.
laughing with you.
So what do you want Austin to communicate back to Mr. and Mrs. Mayor?
I'd say if he wants it paved, he's gonna have to pay for the assessment. Pay it in the assessment.
If he wants it asphalt?
Or that cross deal, that concrete deal going across there, like that low water crossings.
The asphalt with the concrete V
Well, I
shape.
think that's gonna have to be concrete.
Yeah, but either way you go, you're still gonna have to put a concrete flume in there.
Right.
But I think at that point, with the cost of that, do we just go ahead and do the whole street and assess the whole thing? That way it's not to one, and I'm a little torn on Schmidt's lot because especially because that easement basically takes that lot too and makes it pretty unsellable as it is. Now, whether that was a known factor or not, but anyway, I think if we're going to go with the cost of the concrete, which is then we might as well.
I'd say you'd probably have to put probably 10-foot wide flume in there, Bill?
At least.
Huh?
I'd say it'd have to be from you to me.
So you're saying if we put in this 10 feet flume, we could go back to gravel and just put that concrete flume in? That's what
Oh,
you're
yeah,
looking
you
for?
could, I think, going north and yeah.
What?
I'm just.
Okay, so I'm still waiting for a consensus on what we should communicate.
Did Tony look at it? Wasn't he looked at it?
Tony, are you here? Tony, come on
Tony's
up.
here.
Welcome. Come on up. We have an engineer in the audience. Let's take advantage of it.
I was in and picked his brain.
So, you listened to our dilemma. What do you think we should do? You're not on council.
Political side of it, or
yeah, no, about that. Would that so? Do you believe the best thing for us to do, first and foremost, for the drainage, is to put that 10-foot cement, no matter what surface we put in?
Yeah, I like that idea, and I think you need to build it up to the east and fill in that low area, so you don't have to lower the west side. Like you said, that'll just
Well, that's like I say, it's gonna
continue a
bond.
ditch to
Yeah.
the west, so you gotta fill in that low area on the east side of the road. So that flume will slope all the way from the east to the west. And
Is 10 foot sufficient? I know in the letter here it says CES determined 20 to 24.
yeah,
10 feet's not very wide, really.
yep. And with the existing curb on the west, it kind of already defines the slope of that curve, where the low point is gonna be on the west side.
Well, I thought
If we were
that was
doing it
kind of
brand
high, though.
new-
Didn't somebody say it was
I thought
high
it was
on?
awful high.
You said it was high.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah,
Do you think it's high on the west side? Yes, it is.
yeah, but it matches his yard pretty much.
Yeah, but
So that's why I think you have to build up east versus
Do we
trying
need
to
to
lower that.
jackhammer? That would make it mad.
Well, who's gonna pay for repairs of Sandy's yard then? I mean, we're talking, I'll bet 10 plus loads of dirt to bring that up on the east side.
Yeah, she's got trees and everything else there.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of
you got a
reseeding.
little garden area down there.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's made a pretty little area there.
And, she's got sprinklers down there, sprinkler system.
Can we do something like we do with that rock that was on 7th or on 11th Street? The
11th
big rock?
Road?
What?
On 11th Road?
Yeah, what'd I say?
11th Street.
I'm sorry,
I thought
11th
that's what you
Road.
meant.
Can we do something with rock, assuming she would be accepting of it, to get it to kind of flow down and then have the cement thing rather than dirt? I mean, is dirt just? I'm just throwing that out.
Yeah, I think you'd still want dirt because it's a bigger area that you'd have to fill, not just a channel that you're trying to fill in, but
Not just a channel.
a big wide area that.
But it'd definitely be less of an undertaking to fill the east side than cut the west.
I think so, but
So basically, what it amounts to is the person that's doing nothing and has been there for a long time is going to get a lot of stuff done compared to the guy that built the new house and caused the problems.
Well, that's because we did things, we didn't get this resolved.
Because the guy that
Well, we
built-
did, though.
built the
Dave said
house.
we got the gravel road.
It was a put in, yeah.
It was a gravel road.
And then he come back and put the curb in and raised his side.
I think you'd have to really look at what impact it would have on her. I mean, how far back you'd have to fill to bring that up to a elevation to get it across the road.
So do we have the engineering done?
Is it 15 foot or is it 30 foot or 40? It's without
So
running
you
a
got to
level
go
on
back
it.
30 or 40 foot.
Yeah, it's a long ways. I mean, it's a big slope going back there.
So we're going back into Sandy's yard and expecting her to pay for it? Is that what we're talking?
I don't see how we can do that.
Okay, I don't see that either.
I don't think that's right. But
I don't
think
either.
that's right.
I don't either.
Yeah, once you got out, I mean, you have so much right of way to use. Once you're outside of that, you couldn't do anything without,
Can you estimate
or
this?
granting easement to do it.
Are you able to estimate this? Do we have to have Tony estimate this? Tell me,
Because I know
I would
Sandy's
probably have Tony.
estimate what he thinks it's gonna cost.
sprinkler system's right there, right in the right of way.
You guys want Tony to give us an estimate on how much it would cost to build up the east side? Just so we have an
And do the
idea.
concrete, and do the concrete.
And
Just
just,
do
I
the
don't
work.
think building up the east side is the correct thing to do.
you don't
No, I think lowering the west side, lowering that curb and making the
taking
water.
that curb out?
Yep.
At least a section of it down there at the low
Section.
point. But you're still gonna have to put some dirt in, a little dirt in there on that east side, I think.
But you don't, yeah, but
But I mean, it'll be minimal compared to,
if you try to build it up,
yeah.
If you look at the west side of that curb that he put in, there's a drop about that far.
Well, part of that probably was because he believed you were gonna come in and put 2.5 inches of asphalt. I mean, but that was a presumption. No governing body told him that. So, well, maybe we should just go back to Mr. and Mrs. Mayor and say, the best thing for us to do is to lower the west side and knock out your curb, and any cost to drain it probably, you think should be on him?
Yes.
Okay, and then depending on that, do you guys feel like we should assess the cost, whatever street we put in, if we put a street in?
To him.
Well, but if you assess it, you have to assess it to adjacent property, you'd have to, well, then we put it back to gravel, except for that cement problem. You're shaking your head, I'm sorry.
I just don't think that it's fair to assess the other people.
Well, the flip side of that is to say they can sell that back lot, you know, like number 1, he could sell that lot and not have a street, right? So you are increasing his value should he ever decide to sell it.
Well, number 2's where the problem is.
And number 2 as well, 1 and 2.
Well, 2's where the problem is, isn't it, on lot 2?
Yeah.
Who's where the problem's at.
Down through here like this.
So do we want to go back to him and say we feel we need to lower your curb line? We feel gravel is sufficient. If you want us to put a drainage ditch in,
Here's how much it's gonna cost you.
yeah. I mean, is that how you want to go back?
Didn't you have kind of a figure last time?
17,000 or something.
Put a 20-foot
meetings ago.
concrete in there.
Yeah, can't remember, actually.
But I think that was just asphalt.
No, that was concrete, I think, for
Because
that.
That was just a flume.
That was just the flume.
The flume was 17,000?
I think that's
Pretty
what
expensive.
something like that.
I can't remember, honestly.
so I guess I'd be interested to find out exactly what would need, how much of that curb would need to be taken out to accommodate the minimal impact of and then how much dirt you literally to do it right. I think it would be to know exactly what we're asking everybody to do.
So do you want to spend engineering dollars to get this?
Well, I don't know if it needs a whole, I don't know. I don't know what it would take to figure that out.
Like, one thing to help would be to just get some elevations from that channel to the west, all the way up through that low area.
Which probably should have been done initially.
Then we can actually look at some real numbers
You
on
want to have that somewhere?
slopes and areas. And
Because I know when we were out there looking at it, that it's built up to the south side. It kind of runs pretty much straight west, and then there's just a big curve down at the bottom of it there, which hooks in right next to your property.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a committee that'll decide this, or you guys got to work on it tonight?
Well, I think,
I got some suggestions, and I live there.
Yeah, like you say, your property's right on the corner where it dumps into the creek there.
And I think I have a solution that would take care of it. And I just assume, I'd like to present a solution to some committee.
okay, well, street committee. But first, do we want Tony to get these elevations for us? So we can figure out what we need to do?
Madam
Let's
Mayor?
talk to Terry. Let
Yeah, I'd
Kevin
like
and
to
I
talk to Terry.
first.
Yeah, that's free.
Okay. Okay, so you guys come back. I guess you need to present to Mr. and Mrs. Mayor that
Any work done will be assessed.
Yeah, basically.
It might change.
That's what I got. Yeah.
Okay. All right, as long as we're talking
Tony.
about UDL, Unified Land Development Code issues, it was brought to my attention that Hartley Ridge was building a home. And they, according to code, are supposed to have water, sewer, and streets before they start building a house. So as I understand it, that's been, where's Dave? You've spoken, you want to come to the podium? So Hartley Ridge did get a building permit issued for that house, but it shouldn't have been issued until the water, street, and sewer's in. And Dave's spoken with them, and
He said he's planning on starting that sewer in a couple weeks, but if we wish, he will start on it now and quit on the house. So
I think that's what our code says, water, sewer, streets in before the building code permit's issued. So I think we need to have them do it in the right order. So are you guys okay with that, telling them that's what needs to be done?
So what's going to happen? We're going to go tell him you cannot build that house?
Well, the water and sewer and streets need to be in before you build a house, according to our code book.
Well, what we're going to do is, as suggested by our stand-in council, is just go talk to him and have, like, he already talked to him and he already agreed to put in the sewer and the water and stuff before, and start on that before continuing on the house.
So that's basically what we're going to ask him to do, is to backtrack now.
There's no streets out there either.
Right.
I know, and it's supposed to be according to the code book.
Well, that'll set him back a long time. I mean, if it has to be done, it has to be done, but...
he's got to do it anyways.
Yeah. He's got to do it anyways.
If he builds a house, and ain't going to have no water or sewer later.
If you can't get
it
the
in,
house,
so.
you're not going to sell it.
Well, I think it's pretty well sold anyways, but...
Yeah, I do too.
So
whether he works on the sewer and the stuff right now, it's not going to...
not bothering him.
Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
But the fact that we issued the permit without actually enforcing that requirement, do we need to give him some leeway because we did issue the permit?
We talked to the attorney and we could order a stop work order.
Okay.
And
He was
demand
fine
it.
If necessary, but he was fine. He was fine with it.
Okay.
He was fine with it this morning. Just want to let him know, so.
And going back to Darlene's question in this letter of assurance or financial assurance, do you guys want to, since a code says that he's supposed to have this letter of credit in existence before at 150% of the installation cost, which, we agreed to $110,000 up front. Do you want to require him to go get a letter of credit for that 110?
I think we should. We have no protection.
So it'd be at 150%, it'd be like 165,000? Does somebody want to make that motion?
I so move that we require the letter of credit in the amount of $160,000 for Hartley Ridge.
Or 165, I think would be.
165, is
It's
that correct?
150%, yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't include the labor, but he's paying the labor, so it doesn't make sense to do the labor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
What's that cover? Just the street?
That is his water, sewer, that doesn't even include the street, actually.
It's just water and sewer.
That's just water and sewer.
Just make sure it's put in right and correct.
Do you want it to be more than that for the street?
No.
So you're happy with that?
Just water and sewer, yeah.
You guys are doing the staking, I can take it, correct?
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. All right. So we will go backtrack a little bit and get that in the right order. The last one, as long as we're addressing construction issues, when I went in to talk to Dave, Mount Calvary has started their construction, but they have not changed the sewer line yet. And remember, we agreed to move the sewer line, or they agreed to move the sewer. We vacated the alley and said you can take the sewer line down, is that 19th Street there? 18th?
18.
Is it 18th Street? Okay, down 18th Street. Well, they haven't done that yet, and they're starting to build. So I told Dave to not issue the building permit until we talked about this. So according to the order that's in our code book, I think they should do the sewer first before they do the building. How do you guys feel?
It sounds like the same situation we just voted on.
Are they aware of it? Have they been approached about that order?
Dave's back up. It's Dave's turn.
Well, it's the same thing, because there's sewer in that area. This up here does not have the sewer. So this sewer is available, and they are going to go, their sewer to the church will hook onto the existing sewer on the west side. This is just a relocation of the sewer line. So the only issue is how far they build before they put in the new sewer line to take everything so it doesn't go through the building.
I think because the sewer is coming from the hospital, that's kind of a big deal, and we don't want them to start building things and then have to worry about that. But it's you guys' call.
Have we heard anything on the CIPP when they plan on being here to do that this year?
Oh, no, there's a question out of the blue. Okay, go. Do you know?
I haven't heard anything.
Okay. And the only reason I'm asking, because I know that line needs some work done to it that we're going down to. And the one that it's currently on already has the CIPP in it.
Right.
Maybe if we wait till we get the CIPP from that manhole that's down the street in, I think it might help alleviate any problems coming if we wait till they do that and then move the sewer over.
I hate the idea that they're going to start building a building on top
I
of the
do
sewer
too,
line.
but I don't want to see a...
But it's a hospital sewer line.
I'd hate to see that end up in somebody's basement. That was my...
So,
Yeah,
if you look at the order of things, the water and sewers are supposed to be done before the building permit is issued. So...
That was why I was asking about the CIPPs, because then it would...
But I don't think we're doing that specific line.
Have you talked to the contractor?
We're doing that line on 19th Street?
They're supposed to be
down the alley to the west.
I don't know if they...
I think they just got the manholes in and stuff. I think they're supposed to be getting started today or tomorrow or sometime.
Okay.
I would just ask that they proceed with that.
That's fine.
Are you guys okay with that? Mm-hmm. So Dave, you're going to direct them that we want the sewer lines in first?
First for what?
Before they continue constructing the building?
That's what you wish.
Do we need a motion to that effect? Yes?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
May I ask a question? This will be a different crew. The people who are doing the building aren't going to be the ones that are going to be working on the sewer line, right?
No.
Right? They won't be. So can't they do the sewer line and not stop building? Because I know that's really going to disrupt their schedule.
Yeah, I think this sewer issue is a totally different issue than what we're talking about on Hartley Ridge.
Okay.
I mean, the sewer is available, the water is available for this construction on this building. This is just a relocation, which is just a timing issue on when the contractor on that gets that through there. I don't know how far north they've gone.
Yeah, I don't
Guess I could go up and see if they put the footings in on the north part.
Most of the footings on the north side are in.
On the elevator.
Okay, but did they leave the footings out where the sewer line goes through? That's what I need.
I don't think so. I couldn't tell you for sure.
I mean, if there's other things they can build on right there, except for where that alley is, that sewer line. I mean,
so you're saying we can tell them that they can't do anything over the alley area until the other sewer line's in? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's what you're trying to say.
Well, no, I just want to do it in the order that makes sense. If we're supposed to have the sewer line relocated before they build, I would like that to be done.
Yeah, I guess if you do not want to build them over the sewer line, then that's the issue we'll have to address.
Wouldn't necessarily
We're not really addressing the issue in the code book, we're just addressing the issue whether they build on top of your sewer line before they put the new construction in on the new sewer line.
That's what makes sense to me.
What's that?
Get the sewer line in there first before you build over it. That's what you're talking about. Getting the sewer line in there before you build over it. That's why you were saying, don't build on the alley, build something else.
Yeah, I want to block off.
To get the sewer line in. That's what makes sense.
I'll go up and see where they're at on which parts.
But we don't know what the plans were. I mean, we don't have a timeline when they were going to do it.
This is a typical example of when we approved it.
Yeah.
What we should have said is, before any construction begins, we want you to redo that sewer line, but we weren't specific. And so now we have them building and the sewer line's not done, so.
But we're not the professionals. We assume the professionals would do it the right way. And it just seems right. You don't build over a line you're going to have to put in.
Okay, so we're going to proceed with asking them to do sewer line ASAP? How about that?
Yeah.
Or find out when it was going to do, give them a deadline and say it's got to be done,
Okay, Dave, communicate that.
It's Tony's turn.
Tony's turn, okay. Thanks, Debbie. Those are all our building issues. Aren't you glad we're done with those? Okay. Austin, you're back up?
Geometric improvement, it's been going along pretty well. We had a hiccup with the Surf Motel. They were scheduled in the plans to have the west entryway removed and leaving them the one east entryway, which lines up right across the street with the other entryway. The owners recently disagreed that that's not how they remember it, or they don't want that to happen. But in discussion with KDOT, Tony, and and with our respective legal teams, that it would be best to move forward with removing that entryway for safety, because they are going to be putting in a stoplight to the right there and turning left with any sort of semi. Not going to be pretty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were made aware that this was going to happen some years ago when this process started. It changed dramatically in that time.
I'm pretty sure they have.
To me, this is our first big GI project, so you would think KDOT would help us to know that we should have it in writing, that we had presented these plans. I mean, that's the first thing I asked Austin. Did we not get anything in writing from these people?
I remember when this first was discussed, and it was, well, they're only going to have one entrance because they have two that are semi-redundant, and they're only like 40 feet apart from each other.
I remember that.
This one's really not functional for anything other than backing in a truck, because it lines up with the building rather than the parking lot itself.
Right, and their concern was getting the big trucks around, but from diagrams put together, it looks like if they've had a problem thus far with semis, it's not because...
I know some semis like to,
They back off the highway.
They back off the highway, so they're up that slope facing north. And I'm sure that's what they have in mind, but
Gotcha.
Well, that's not every week, but...
Yeah. But either way, that's... Collectively, we decided that was just to move forward. And KDOT's council said that they have the legal right to move forward with it anyways, because they have police powers over that right away. So just as a point of reference.
Oh, and Hardee's were taking out one of their entrance too. So as the first thing I asked Austin, do we have that in writing that it's okay? And he has emails that confirm that they are aware of it and are okay with it. So we'll remember that for next GI project.
Yeah, emails are good.
Yes.
Floodplain update. We did receive paperwork on the floodplain, and what I've included in the update is a little jump to conclusion. The map that was actually provided with the letter is actually just a rough draft. So the lines on there around the truck shop could slightly alter with a final draft and we don't know exactly what's going to happen as far as the floodplain line. So right now, we're just sitting and waiting. But I'm fairly confident if it does end up actually nicking the line, actually touching the building, that we could have that surveyed and have it removed from the floodplain.
I think it would be prudent of us to have Austin take it down to the people that live, all the businesses in the industrial park, show them this. And before this 30 days, it looks like we have 30 days to say we disagree with this resolution, to make sure that they're okay with this. And regarding Truck Repair Plus, tell him, or show him the map, tell him it's not final, and that we hope that it isn't in, but if it is, we'll hope to get the letter to get him out. Letter of elevation, or whatever that term is.
Certificate of elevation.
Certificate of elevation.
Yeah.
So.
And I just recently gathered all the information I needed to go talk to those guys.
So basically on page 43 it says, if you do not agree with this resolution, I assume that we agree with it in principle, even though it's not final, so we don't need to proceed, other than have Austin communicate it to the property holders?
The new rough draft, or the new map, even though it's a rough draft, pretty much takes all of the buildings out of the floodplain, that are all the existing buildings. Yeah. Minus the one where it crosses the lines, and they planned that, so we had to talk about it.
So you'll do that?
I just go down and communicate with them,
that was,
talk to him.
That is the plan.
Okay.
Austin, may I ask a question?
Yes.
It says here, the elevation certificate, which involves having the building surveyed, and in talking with Schwab Eaton, they said it would only cost a couple $100 for them to do the elevation certificate. The next sentence, I'm going to get a quote from CES, so are you asking for a competitive quote with CES, from CES for Schwab Eaton?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
Yep. And it was top of their head that they said a couple $100, and I wanted to see what CES would give. But since I was jumping to conclusions, Debbie kind of reeled me in as far as this being a rough draft map, so I haven't gotten anything.
So we're not to that part yet, right?
Nope.
We got to wait and see what the final, we got to draft the letter, we got to wait to see what their final decision is, right?
Exactly. The final map.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep. Let's see. The pool policy, had a meeting with Parks and Rec about this. I have talked to Maria, pool manager, about assembling a day-to-day operations guide for the council to look at as far as what goes on at the pool, and maybe have the council approve it so everybody's in the know about what exactly is going on. And so that directive has been given. I forget what else we were talking about.
So that policy A67 that's in your packet, when we approved her swimming pool staff manual, that A69, we didn't ever rescind A67. And so when I look through here, most of this is addressed in this, except that break time, the pool checks. I don't think they do pool checks anymore, they do breaks. So that's not addressed in here. The other thing that's not addressed in here is the swim team policy, their usage of the pool and whether it's open or closed on those days and when and whatever. So that's not in here. And then there were 3 sections in this. This was approved April of 2014, so there was a few of us, Vicki, Denny, you and Todd, when we went over this and approved this. But the 3 things that I thought needed to be clarified were, on page 3 it says, the pool opens on Memorial Day weekend and remains open through mid-August unless otherwise approved. It doesn't say approved by whom. It needs to say who it is. So that's just a minor thing. The other thing was on page 20 when I read through here. It says pool closing policy. Pool closing will be determined at the discretion of the pool management. I thought it should say, and city administrator, or at least city administrators notified, communicated, whatever. Something needs to be so that it's pushed to the supervisor, right? And the last thing is on page 33, where it says, the swimming pool manager reports directly to the city administrator, and then it goes on to say concerning mechanical maintenance and other safety hazards at the pool. And I just think it needs to be changed to reports to the city administrator, comma, including but not limited to those items, so that there's a direct hierarchy that, she does report to the city administrator, or he, whoever is the pool manager. But those were just 3 small items, but the other 2 big ones were the swim team policy and the break policy, so it's documented somewhere, so that if any council member or any resident has a question, we can pull out the manual and say, right here, this is the policy. So Austin had recommended that the Parks and Rec Committee make their recommendation, especially regarding the swim team policy and the break policy, and amend this.
I think we also added to when the pool was going to be open for adult swim too.
In the mornings.
Okay, so we can add that to the policy.
Was that at 7 in the morning or 6 to 8?
I think it's 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
So anyway, will you guys get those, make those changes to this and bring it to the council? Okay.
Mayor, is there a charge for the swim team to use the pool?
Well, see, I don't think so. Does anyone know?
No.
There's no charge?
There is a charge for the swim team, but they've always bought stuff and donated it back to the pool.
I just think it'd be better to have it documented what the swim team policy is, and we can change it, year by year, but we just need to have something documented. So when we're all sitting here not knowing, that's not a good thing. So we will we'll make those changes to it and address it that way. All right. Was there anything else on there? I think that's it.
For the pool?
Yeah. Okay.
Budget included evaluation that we received at the end of June. The evaluation went up $1.4 million, which is pretty significant, and means we should be able to keep the mill levy level for the city. And reminder of the budget workshop tomorrow at 5:15.
Yeah, the 1.4 million includes Lando Building 40, the IRB expired, so that they got on the tax roll. So that's why it looks so big this year.
And then the last thing, I just included the cash and budget statements.
Do you want to talk about that one correction?
Oh, yes. I'll give you the corrected ones.
Yeah, well, no.
Okay. The one correction is on page 57. The total budgeted imbalance, the total imbalance was incorrect. It was pulling from December of 15 spreadsheet for some reason. The new number for the imbalance is $307,783, and then the grand total is what does that say? $7,438,672.
The cash balances were. When I saw that, I was like, I went down 1.2 mil. I was kind of freaking out. So it did not do that. Yeah. So he's corrected though.
Yes.
Did you need the amounts again, Vic?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so on page 57, where it says total budgeted from page 1, should be $5,307,783. And the grand total of cash in balance, right below that, the number should be $7,438,672.
Thank you.
Okay, was there anything else?
Nope, not for me.
Okay, city clerk. All right, standing committee, street?
Yes. I noticed in my driving around town in the garbage truck here the last couple of weeks, our street department is filling curb, I guess you'd call it breaks, and holes where curb is missing with asphalt. That will never hold. When winter gets here and freezes in that, it'll pop that asphalt out and it'll run towards our storm sewers. I think they need to be marking that and repairing, making curb repairs instead of just trying to slough it in with asphalt.
Are these small areas?
Yes.
Anywhere from like this to...
Yeah, about like that.
Yeah.
You can see it down in
A
front
foot
of
and smaller, I would say.
It works for the smaller ones?
And it doesn't work on any of them.
And these aren't...
Not on the, it's on the,
Cement
It's
part?
on the
It's on the
curb
curb
part on the
part
back
going up.
and in the valley of it, or back to the back, so.
Madam Mayor, I think they know that isn't going to hold, but what they're trying to do is to fill in some trip hazards. If it holds at all, it keeps...
And usually asphalt like that is not, and it's not designed to hold in the first place. It's more along, and I'll clarify this, it's to, one, tripping hazard, yes. But two, to keep that water flowing during the summer.
As long as we get it corrected, I don't care, but I don't like to see it in there. I don't want it as a permanent fix.
Of course.
That needs to be dug out.
Of course.
Those are on the schedule to be done, but they're not going to be done within the next 6 months. So this is a temporary fix for sure. We had discussed this, I don't know when, but they're just trying to protect, you know, somebody from twisting their ankle or
chip and seal soon.
So there's a
Next
lot
week.
of it out there. So.
Yeah. Well, it's also down in front of the
are they
grocery
gonna
store.
start chip and seal pretty soon?
What day was it?
Are they supposed to start next week, the 18th?
Because, who's coming back?
One of the employees.
One of the employees, the oiler is coming back. The guy who's running the oiling machine is coming back, and that's when they will get started on chip and seal. So this week, they're supposed to be cutting some trees.
Cutting trees, yeah. Because his appointment, I think, was tomorrow, if I remember right.
So. Okay.
Excuse me. I have an issue too on streets.
Yes.
I sat down in front of Cromie's Market during the last rain and watched, and what we had talked about is doing gutter repair and elevation. I'm not so sure that's going to solve the problem there, because the gutter sits up like this, the brick sits down below it like this, and where the water's standing is on the brick side of the gutter.
Right, but they're going to have to be replaced so far out. They're going to have to be relayed so far out. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And aren't they lowering the gutter a little bit too?
Yep.
So they're doing that elevation.
And drain it to the west.
What, a quarter inch drop to the gutter, to the sewer? Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Water, wastewater, Parks Rec, cemetery and airport.
I got something about the cemetery and airport. How come they always park that swather up on top of the hill when they get done with it? They just leave it sitting up there.
Well, you know, I had somebody contact me that said it's very dangerous to have equipment near the runway.
It is.
And so maybe we just need to call the people that own that equipment and tell them to keep it off airport property, not to store it on airport.
Put it by that big dirt pile that's over there on the east side.
Can you do that?
The old treasure hunt property, what do they call it?
The farmland or the cropland?
Where there's that gate off the southeast corner, treasure hut property, I think is what they used to call that.
So you're saying...
It would be completely,
You're saying the southeast corner is fine? That's where you're saying?
It's all
get it off that hill.
Okay. Can you tell them? All right.
Did you know the treasure hut one was here?
All right. Police and fire? Admin and finance?
Would you like me to recap our couple meetings?
Sure.
Okay. Please, if I miss anything, for those the others that were in attendance, we've had 2 meetings with actually all the that included members of the Admin and Finance Committee, and then there were members of Convention Tourism, Main Street, Chamber at both of those meetings. So just like real quickly, some of the things we discussed in no particular order. The Visitor Center, the recommendation was Visitor Center stays where it is. Convention Tourism already had in the proposed budget the $9,000, which is what the Chamber required to keep the Visitor Center open. So we're going to stay with that.
We're going to recommend that.
We recommended that.
But in accordance with that, we need to redo the contract, and we're waiting for you're going to go into this?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
So part of that is then we have a contract with Chamber which defines certain roles and responsibilities, and the Convention of Tourism is going to come back with the new roles and responsibilities that are expected of the Chamber and to comply with basically what's expected for the 9,000. So we'll come back with a recommended contract, which is not due yet, so we're not due to renew.
It won't be, and then nothing will happen in 2016. This will all apply to 2017.
Right. We did ask, and so in the proposed budget, Mayor did ask that they add a carryover, and we agreed an amount. I don't have that amount on the top of my head, but there was a specific amount.
We agreed 12, Austin?
It was 14.
Or 15.
They carried forward for transit.
Yeah, it was 12.
Yep.
Because I wasn't comfortable with that number.
A couple of the recommendations of the committee was that with the new position that they want to hire, that there is a high level of accountability with that position. It was recommended by the committee, but is up to Convention and Tourism. There was some strong feelings that that position should be located at the Visitor Center, but that is entirely up to Convention's term to finally make that decision. And then for 2018, we agreed that the recommendation would be to work towards including the museum staff's salary within that budget. So right now, the museum staff salary is not covered by the
Kester House Museum.
Yes, thank you.
Kester House Museum.
The one we actually have responsibility for, to include that in that budget so that it's all being paid out of the sales tax, not the sales tax fund, the transient sales tax. Thank you very much. But we agree that that's probably something to require for 2018 because that was a pretty large hit to force Convention and Tourism to absorb in 2017. So work towards that.
And we also felt like we could go to the foundation, see if they're willing to make a contribution for the curator's salary. And always the consideration is we can change museum hours if need be.
Right.
But we decided to push that to 2018 and kind of see how that works out. At this point in time, when we do have our budget meeting tomorrow, what we will do is go ahead and approve the transient guest tax budget, which is basically spending or including in the budget all the monies in that fund. It doesn't promise or commit to anything, and we will still be, this position will still be evolving, and you will get to vote on it. Okay? But tomorrow night, we will basically just be approving the expenditure of the monies, and then the position and the contract, and those things will all be forward in a later date. All right?
That's all I had.
Is there anything else you wanted to add about it, Darlene or Vicki? We were both there.
Nope, I think you covered it very well.
Okay, thanks, Brad. All right, for wage determination on page 58 and 59 is a full-time officer, Tyler Williams. Do you have anything, Austin, you want to share other than what was presented? Todd's not here, is he?
No. Very qualified applicant. Looking forward to add him to our team.
All right. I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve new police officer, Tyler Williams, range 16 for $15.09 per hour, subject to 6-month probationary period. The rate shall be effective beginning July 12th, 2016.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 8-0. Thank you very much. City attorney is not here. I do not know of any reason to have an executive session at this time. So we will proceed, unless you guys do. Otherwise, we proceed to roundtable. Keith?
Nothing.
Bill? Darlene?
I might mention that Thursday night will be the last community band concert, and it's at the Kester Block Museum in the yard, and it's always cool there. And then, yes, it is.
That was not a sarcastic statement, that was a true statement.
And then July 28th, the Army Band will be here. They'll perform at the air-conditioned high school.
Good to hear, good to hear. Anything else?
No.
All right, Brett?
I just, I will mention, I did put on everybody's desks for you to review later, using the words not coming to me. It has come up through past public comments that because we limit the 5 presenters to 5 minutes, that we're not adhering to the First Amendment. And this was just something, it's not meant to be a legal opinion, that's for our counselor, but I thought it put in very good words, or it made it very clear that while we, as a city body first, as a governing body, we first choose whether we're even going to have a public comment, and there's no requirement for us to have a public comment section. But having done so, we do have to be very fair, but it's about content. We have to be we cannot limit the content, but we can limit the time. We can limit repetitiveness. We can limit. We have certain controls over that. So, again, I think it kind of spelled it out in some English, or worded it very well. I'm not coming across very good, but I thought it worded it very well. And so in case it comes up again, I thought it would.
We have something to refer to.
Yes.
A reference point.
Yes,
Thank you, Brad. Todd?
Yeah, swimming pool did a great job hosting the league meet this weekend down there. I don't know how many total people were in attendance, but it was packed. Parking was tight. The whole pool was really well surrounded. On the downside, boy, is that grass on that north side taking a pounding from people going up and down into the pool. So I'm sure our parks people have their work cut out for them next spring, reseeding that, because it's worn down to the mesh under the grass already. But,
oh, wow.
But it was really nice, and I heard a lot of good things from people there. Talked to a couple people, and they were happy with it.
They turned the speakers for you?
No, they didn't. I'm working on that. But they were really happy with the community, and they really were pleased with how many options there were to eat and things to do while they were kind of hanging around town.
Good.
Thought it was good.
Anything else?
That's it.
Vicki?
I just wanted to say that I'm very impressed with the people that we have working for us on the city crews. Part of what I do on the finance committee is go over bills. Sometimes it takes 4 to 5 hours before a meeting to look over. Brad does that, Darlene does that, the mayor does that. So there's eyes on the bills, every line item. And I just want to say I see a lot of product being bought to service vehicles, the lawnmower, all different equipment that we use. The police department has their cars and trucks professionally, oil changes and whatnot, but the others do some of their own because they have that expertise and they keep good records. And I just want to say that as I'm looking it over, it occurs to me that that they have taken such good care of the equipment that it makes it last longer, because as you know, if somebody would let a vehicle go to the point that it needs 4 quarts of oil at one time, that they pretty much have fried the engine, and our guys take better care of the vehicles than that. And I want to thank them for their expertise, and I want to thank them for taking the time to take good care of taxpayer-owned vehicles. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Denny?
Nothing.
Kevin?
Nope.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Oh.
No, I want to get in there.
No.
You want to speak?
Or you turn to, you want to reconvene?
Can you,
We can reconvene.
we could reconvene?
We can reconvene.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to reconvene.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are reconvened, and
What was the motion?
Reconvene.
all right.
Hello. My name is Andy Kwapnowski, and I would like to, if you guys entertain the idea of possibly renting the lagoons pasture for use of hay production. And I didn't know if there would be some kind of agreement I could make with the city to bale or swath, rake and bale the hay.
Haven't we talked about this before?
Yep.
And I think the problem is we can't generate revenue. We can't earn it. But we do at the airport. How do we do that?
Look into that.
So, do you know anything about that, Austin?
Don't we have to mow around the lagoons legally? So can we somehow offset it that way?
There are some issues with if if you're getting a profit off of a property, you have to start paying taxes on it for municipalities.
How do we avoid that on the airport?
But are we paying staff to mow it now? So we save money.
So we just
depends on how much the taxes are.
Well, no, but I mean, if we do it for a token amount or for as an in-kind, I mean, is there a way to work around so we don't charge, but we don't pay anybody to do it either?
Questions for the lawyer.
Okay, that's
we can look
that'd be a great deal for him.
In contact with Austin?
Yeah, that'd be
Get in
fine.
contact with
That'd
our
be fine.
lawyer?
I'll get you my card.
It's actually my great-grandma's old piece of ground, her family, so my grandpa farmed it for a lot of years, and so I don't know, thought maybe it needs upkept.
Is that Mr. Neatfeld?
Yes. John Neatfeld.
And you are who?
Andy Kwapnowski.
And you are?
Deb Neatfeld's my mom.
Deb's son. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you stopped us. And Austin, you'll get in contact with Austin?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right,
thank you. Oh, Mr. Neatfeld wants to speak. Okay.
I got something altogether different.
Okay, can you come up to the...
You can give me help, because I don't hear you. I can talk to you, though.
John, come to the podium.
My sister's got two houses on 12th and 13th Street by the west of the Catholic Church. And down the draw, I don't know who owns that house, but it's full of old televisions and beer cans, and they put up a plywood corner up against the fence next to the house. I can take the one house and throw beer cans too, and right into the box. And what worries me is I see kids playing around there, and I don't know, he's a junkie, I think, but he takes them televisions. If some kids throw a rock in them, they'll explode.
Hey, Andy.
Somebody's going to get hurt.
Is that?
He had 20 of them back there the other day.
Is this at 1205 Carolina?
Huh?
I believe so.
Yeah. It's just west of the Catholic Church.
That too,
down that hill?
Yeah.
Okay, that house.
Cindy says no.
It's a different house?
No.
Which
house ain't much good. I suppose
Ralston, north of that.
It's one block north of that?
From Wetters.
It's kind of an alley.
Winnie lives at the house on the corner.
Do you know which house it is?
down in that hole.
Yeah. Is there a big tree in the front that looks like it could fall over at any time? A really big elm tree?
The corner house, or
maybe that's the
house is away from the front of the street.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so Austin believes he knows which house this is. You know, Andy, can you get
Dave,
a...
right now.
Dave knows where it's at.
David is aware of it. Okay.
David's aware of it.
We're working on it.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
We're going to work on it.
Is there anyone else? Any more for public comments?
Television, so there's kids who get hurt on it. You ever heard of, you guys supposed to, you guys are old enough, you've been around the hunting. A lot of people used to take them on televisions and put them on a hill and take a rifle and shoot at them, and they'll explode.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds dangerous. Okay, well, Dave's on it. Dave Richardson's on it. Okay, now.
I'll move to adjourn again.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.
I'm going to move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn? That's like 2 minutes. It's a double meeting?
No, I don't think that's the way it works. I think maybe they're going to make people write them down in advance to do that. So they make sure. It's supposed to be 16 minutes handled. So